Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back inside The Lock Shop. Nielson and Hus back with you once again. As always, Lock Shop brought to you by our wonderful partners at Coolbet. We got Friday puck picks, Saturday puck picks. We got XFL Week 4, a little Brier talk. We're going to recap the week here as well so far for you. If you are watching on Twitter, remember you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just add Lock Shop Bets on YouTube, and if you are watching anywhere and you've not yet subscribed to the audio version of the Lock Shop on all your podcasting platforms, search the Lock Shop there. Sign up at Coolbet and use the code Lock Shop, and you get 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit, up to 200 smackaroos. Haas, what's up, buddy?
Well, what is up? Thank God for curling, because it's bailed me out this week. And I know we'll look at the leaderboard right away. I had the most miserable start to the Players' Championship. And you know what? Colin Morikawa was lucky because I almost picked him. And I think that if I did pick him, he would be +4 instead of -8 right now. That's just the way that it's gone a little bit this week. And Morikawa birdieing his first hole. He's at 8 under par. But yeah, Rory with a brutal opening round. JT's sucking. Shane Lowry couldn't sink a putt. Corey Connors wasn't very good. Although I guess the prop on the J Day to win that group, that's looking good at +300. He's what's Day is, I think
4 under
7th right now in the clubhouse, getting ready for the weekend. So he'll look pretty good. Vic Hovland actually pretty good too at 4 under par as well. But we'll all be watching our Coolbet guy Taylor Pendrith today. He is even through 2 holes, 5 under in the top 5 right now. And looking pretty good to play the weekend and maybe be in the mix for such a big money tournament. I don't know. How about you? Any good news you can sprinkle on it from the golf perspective?
I do have Day. I do have Jason Day as one of my picks, right? So he's kind of the hope that we have right now. Also, shout out to the other Canadian, Svensson. We were on him a couple weeks ago in an event, right? He's 4 under yesterday, and he'll be teeing off here this afternoon. Actually, in just a few minutes, he's probably just off right now. So we'll see how he fares here as well.
Hadwin's at 1 under as well. He's got a tee time 12:40 coming up in about half an hour or whatever. So yeah, some of the Canadians have done quite well. We're just looking to see what the cut is expected to be at +1. That's at least what it's saying right now. Shane Lowry did battle back with the 69 today. So I guess if there's any way that guys can drop off and get the cut line to -2, I'm not holding out any hope for it. But man, look at some of the names. JT's +2 right now, playing the 18th hole. Spieth is +2. Man, some of those DraftKings lineups could be taking a killing with some of the guys that have been out. And I'm just looking to see Rory McIlroy. He's just teed off. So I'd be shocked if Rory didn't pull off a big round and at least make the cut. But pretty tough to win a tournament when guys like Morikawa are playing the way they are, and you start off.
It's funny you mentioned that you thought about Morikawa. So did I. I had him on the list and I took him off. I was just like, I don't know. He didn't have a great track record there, so I was just like, well, I'm going to step back for now. Now, if you think your golf picks this week were bad, Huss, I could top you here. I need to get a dub today in the Lock Shop Coolbet Plays of the Day to avoid an 0-5 week. Now, we've had 5-0 weeks before. I'm not sure if we've had an 0-5 week, though. So here's how this week has played out for me. And I'm not happy with it at all. So I was on Buffalo, Edmonton, over on Monday. That game did not hit the over. It was at 7. I did say get to 6.5. Then I was on. What is it? I can't even read my own writing. I know last night that sucked. I was on something Tuesday that didn't hit. Something Tuesday didn't hit. And then I was on the under. Oh no, Tuesday was the Flames game, and Markstrom had the best game of the season and took that one. Then on Wednesday, I was on the under 5.5 in the Winnipeg game, empty netter with 38 seconds left to cash the over. And then yesterday, I was on Carolina over 3.5 goals against the Philadelphia Flyers, who started someone named Felix Sandstrom, who'd only played 3 games in his career and never had a save percentage above 880. And he stopped 28-29 last night in a loss. But the Carolina Hurricanes only scored 1 goal on Felix Sandstrom in his 4th game of the year. So I got to get something tonight. It's a light night in the NHL. Don't necessarily know what I love. We've got a couple of things that we're going to lay out, but I'm feeling the heat. I'm feeling the pressure today, Hus.
Yeah, well, listen, and of course, you mentioned that Wednesday Jets-Wild game. It was almost inconceivable that it went the way that it did. The Jets played so well. They were all over Marc-Andre Fleury. They couldn't score at him. And Connor Hellebuck, the rock of the Jets, lets in the worst goal he's let in for a long, long time, which ended up being the winning goal. And then I'm not sure if you saw the way that over hit, but the Jets had the goalie pulled, had full control, were all over it. I mean, it was far more likely that they would tie the game up and put it to OT that would hit the over. And Mark Scheifele, I mean, a perfect pass on his stick, just somehow goes over it, out of bounds. Hartman, thank you very much. Boom, in for the empty netter. That's the way that it's going this week for the Lock Shop and the Jets. I need a lot of things for my mental sanity. I need a lot of things to turn it around. So, but again, thank you, curlers. I actually have been in a nice run at the Brier. We had those winners a little earlier on the show a couple days ago. The props, pre-tournament props, Manitoba to win the group, Manitoba over on wins, and Mike McEwen over and to qualify. Both came in. And that Dunstone at plus 325 looking pretty good. And that Canada-Manitoba final still very much in the mix right now, as both of those teams were the ones coming through. I actually did have a play for this afternoon, but unfortunately, the games are an hour earlier, so it's already on right now. But you can check out Coolbet after these games this afternoon for the matchups. Dunstone and Gushu will be playing the winners of this afternoon's matchups. The heavy favorites were Botcher and Kevin Cooey. And then we'll get to the good stuff coming up on the weekend. But slow night tonight in the National Hockey League. But we do have a big one tomorrow, and most of the money line odds are already. So I've already got some picks for that as well.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of money line plays for Saturday's action in the National Hockey League. Just the 2 games to kind of dive into tonight. Chicago taking on the Florida Panthers. Florida's put together a couple of nice back-to-back wins here, something that they desperately had to have. And then Anaheim and Calgary a little bit later on. I'm just going to get on Chicago here. Under 2.5. Parlay value here with just the 2 games tonight. So plus 119 is going to be the 2-gamer that I'm on tonight. And I'm going to get on Chicago here under 2.5 goals against the Florida Panthers at minus 191. Obviously, the Hawks don't have a lot of things moving the needle right now offensively. So I'm going to take them under 2.5 goals. And then Calgary in regulation against the Ducks. Calgary Flames are starting to worry me in their eliminated thing here. I could view it as a jinx to Winnipeg or the ultimate support for Winnipeg, thinking that they were going to cruise, right? So I'd love to see the Flames lose this game tonight just because I said they were going to miss the playoffs. But Calgary, couple big wins, minus 227 in regulation tonight against the Ducks. And those 2 plays will get you plus 119.
Yeah, and obviously with the 2 games, I got a 2-gamer as well. The puck line on this Florida-Chicago game is actually minus 2.5.
Yeah.
The number on minus 1.5 is, I think, minus 182. Listen, I'm going to go with the minus 1.5. I considered the 2.5. I mean, I'm looking at this game and thinking it's going to be 4-1, 5-1, something like that, like your underplay on Chicago. But I'll take Florida on an adjusted puck line of minus 1.5. And that Calgary-Anaheim game, I don't mind the Calgary regulation number that you picked, but I'm going to take the under right now. They seem to be really locking it down defensively. I think they'll probably score a few goals, but I was surprised that was a 6.5 and maybe not a 6, considering who was playing. So we got it just about up to 2-1 with those picks. So plus 184 tonight on an under 6.5 between Calgary and Anaheim, and the Panthers to win by 2 this evening, hosting the Blackhawks. And hopefully the Blackhawks can beat the hell out of the Panthers because the Jets are taking on the Panthers the following night, Saturday night. And it's been well documented on this show and more so on Winnipeg Sports Talk, the Winnipeg Jets need a win, need some puck. Like there's a lot of people freaked out, maybe no more than myself. Calgary's next 3 games are this game against the Ducks, home against the Sens, and then a trip to Arizona to take on the Coyotes, while the Jets have Florida, Tampa, Carolina on the road, and then come back to host the Boston Bruins. So no easy ones on the schedule. They got to find a way to do it. Hopefully that happens tomorrow night.
All right, let's look ahead. Let's look ahead to Saturday. Busy day Saturday. Puck lines, totals not available just yet over at Coolbet, but because it's a Saturday and we don't have an episode on Saturday when we're not in the NFL season, we did decide to dive into some of these money lines, Hus, and we're both on the Devils, but there's some other plays here. What else are you looking at on Saturday?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I'm taking some favorites. I was thinking about Edmonton, and I thought that you'd probably touch on that.
I got him on there. I'll talk about that game, yeah.
By the way, just quickly before we do that, last night, there was many members of the Oilers Nation that wrote the team off, turned the TV off after the first. There was some very, very cold takes about the Oilers last night after that first period. And, man, credit to them for coming back. I mean, Boston, and listen, I get it. Boston doesn't blow leads. Boston wins it at home every single game. Boston never loses when they're winning into the third period. Very, very impressive win for the Oilers. And they'll have some momentum and I think a lot of confidence going in to take on the Maple Leafs again after just playing them last week. As far as my picks go, I'm not really going out on a limb with any of these selections, but trying to find some winners and put them together on one. 2 -149s that I'll probably bet individually. The Rangers are in Buffalo to take on the Sabres. I had to laugh when you mentioning the loss on somehow the over in the Edmonton Buffalo game when poor Eric Comrie gave up a 10 spot last night. All in for all 10 goals, and they lose 10-4. The Rangers, though, I think are getting better. They're clicking a little bit more with Patrick Kane. He got his first goal there yesterday and had an assist. I think they go in and win that game. So I like the Rangers at -149. And the other game that I really liked as far as value was the LA Kings at home to the Predators. Listen, I know the Predators looked like they were sort of close and winning a couple games. I'm not expecting them to continue that. And actually, I won again last night betting on the Coyotes at home. That's twice this week. I think if you would just bet the Coyotes as a home dog in just about every home game this season, you would be way, way up. So I've sort of gotten on that train. Last 2 games they've won. I like the Kings to get back home and beat the Nashville Predators in that game. So those are the 2 shorter numbers. We do have the Carolina Hurricanes, who to me just absolutely keep on rolling. They've got the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas has had a couple wins with Jonathan Quick. I don't think it happens in Carolina. They are just too damn good right now. So we'll have to hit the Canes at -185. And we'll throw in the Devils, who won their 24th road game of the year. They're up against the Montreal Canadiens, who we know are in next year territory. So -286 on Jersey, a bigger number, -185 on Carolina. And those 2 -149s with the Kings at home against Nashville and the Rangers on the road against Buffalo comes up to just south of 5-1 at +481.
Yeah, you mentioned Arizona and the record at home. The opposite on the road, which is why, I mean, for a parlay, I'm going to throw Colorado money line in here at -370 at home. They're obviously in the thick of it here, fighting for playoff positioning in the Western Conference. I'd expect Colorado to take care of business against a Coyotes team that's much below average on the road. New Jersey Devils, I'll hop in on that one with you. I'll get to the Oilers game in a second. Minnesota money line against the San Jose Sharks. I would expect Gustafsson to start that game, and that guy has been absolutely lights out so far this year. And Minnesota, hottest team in the National Hockey League pretty much right now. So I get on Minnesota here, -159. That's the number, and the Edmonton number, the 2 games that I would probably play on their own here. Edmonton coming off that game against Boston, and you are right. After 20 minutes, the late giveaway from Skinner, and it's just like, wow, Skinner, not big enough for this moment. Can't handle this. This team's done. I mean, it might be, I don't know. Is it the same way in Winnipeg? Like, it's not just like from game to game here. It's period to period in Edmonton. Like, it was a write-off after 20 minutes. And then it was, my God, this is a preview of the Stanley Cup final after 60 minutes. So it's a roller coaster here right now, buddy. That's for sure. But I do think, I mean, Edmonton thoroughly dominated Toronto last week here in Edmonton. Matthews, do you know Matthews and Marner have combined this year for 2 less goals than McDavid has on his own? Like, that's the type of season he's having. He's got 54 goals. Oh. Marner and Matthews have combined for 52. It's ridiculous, the year that he's having so far. So, yeah.
Austin's been a little quieter than what he did last year.
Yeah, 29. I mean, listen, he's at 29.
Set the bar high, but I mean, what McDavid's doing is, and the thing is, he's starting to get some help. I mean, you know what Draisaitl is? We saw it firsthand against the Jets.
He's great in that game.
Last weekend. I mean, even when, like, I thought McDavid, as far as McDavid performances go, it was a real quiet game for him. Not for Leon, though. And listen, and now they've got Ekholm. It seems like they've got a little bit more toughness in that bottom six. Evander Kane's back right now. Listen, I guarantee you, when we get to playoff time and the matchups are set up and we look at the futures on Coolbet, the Oilers are going to be, I would say, probably top 2 along with the Avalanche when it comes to Cup futures, assuming the Avalanche get their act together and are a home team at least in the first round, regardless of whether they win the division or not.
That Edmonton has a money line underdog at plus 113. That's a Hockey Night in Canada spotlight game, so a chance for McDavid to maybe put on a show as well. Also, an asterisk on this: if Jack Campbell is playing, you take that bet out of your card. There's I just don't think Jack Campbell's game is in a state right now where they could even consider putting him in against the Toronto Maple Leafs, considering the spotlight that would be on him in that return to Toronto. So I'm assuming it's a Skinner game. But we'll see. They're practicing today in Toronto, getting ready for that game. If Skinner plays, I'm on the Oilers there, plus 113, and it ends up being a plus 495 parlay.
Yeah. Jack didn't look great last Saturday in Winnipeg, I'll tell you that much. And I don't know about the big revenge narrative, whether that's going to be playing into his listen, if I'm Woodcroft, I'm playing Skinner, and just especially Skinner. After the way he hung in there after last night's game. Yeah, no, I would agree. All right, XFL. Hey, one other hockey note. Yeah. You mentioned the Minnesota Wild with that game in San Jose. And again, we don't have the totals yet, but Wild unders are going to continue to be paying off, I think. Kirill Kaprizov got banzai dropped, to use Michael Remus's term, by Logan Stanley in the game on Wednesday night. He left the game. And they announced yesterday that he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. And the Wild have been doing a great job of winning, but they really haven't been scoring goals. And I think we're going to see a bunch of 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 performances. I've got a note on this with the Wild because it was my play of the day on Wednesday. So I dove into it. And not only had they been under in 9 of 10 going into that game, but 6 of their last 7 wins prior to that Jets game, Hus, 6 of their last 7 wins, both teams had combined for 3 goals or less. Both teams. Not one team. Both teams had combined for 3 goals or less in 6 of their last 7. So it's a steady diet of 2s and 1s. And you're right, with Kaprizov out, man, for sure. Well, and I mean, listen, that game, not to go back to it on Wednesday, but I mean, the first one was iffy. The third one never goes in on Connor Hellebuck, and an unlikely empty netter. I mean, all of those things need to conspire together to hit an over by half a goal. Yeah. We're going to see 5. It's 5.5 every game going forward for the Wild. And I have a feeling we're going to see some unders. Once that number comes up tomorrow, I will be on the under in the Wild Sharks game. You can count on that. All right, Hus, XFL week 4, buddy. What do we got? Yeah, we got a few matchups. I got 3 picks. The mighty Houston Roughnecks look to go 4-0 against Orlando. Now, the Roughnecks are minus 8.5 on the road, but they should be. This probably should be double digits. I don't normally lay, although we haven't had too many weeks of XFL to really get used to it yet, but laying a big number like that on the road, But to me, these teams are just in a completely different area code right now. Rod Woodson's had a real tough time, I guess, getting his team ready. They've already had a ton of players in and out of the lineup, and Houston's been the class of the league so far. So I look for them to keep rolling at -8.5. The Seattle Sea Dragons got their first win last week. They've actually quietly been one of the best teams when it comes to offense so far. Who is it? Old Ben DiNucci, the former Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, I got DiNucci's numbers on my XFL notes if you want them. I mean,
I think he's got like 855 passing yards. He's got 7 touchdown passes so far. And the Brahmas do have that one win, but their quarterback struggled last week, totaling only 64 yards against the Roughnecks. So I'm going to roll with the Sea Dragons. I kind of thought that they should have won at least one of their first 2 games. So I think that this settles down a little bit. Give me them -4.5 against San Antonio. And this Vegas DC game is going to be really interesting. I had a tough time picking a side on this one, so I'm going to go with the over 40.5. I've seen this number on other books as high as 42.5. So I'm not sure whether the numbers come down a little bit or we're just getting a better number if you're liking the under right now at Coolbet. But right now it's 40.5. So we'll take the over there. It is -132 and put those together. Other game, I didn't put this on the card, but I do think that the under 36 in that Arlington St. Louis game, Renegades Battlehawks, probably won. St. Louis, great defense, offense not happening very much. And I do think Bob Stoops will keep his team in the game. I think there's a real coaching advantage on that side. So totals in those last couple games, and we're going to take the favorites and lay the points, Roughnecks and Sea Dragons, in the games that are happening on Saturday.
This is great news. This is great news for all of our Lock Shop viewers who follow the theory of if Hus and Nielsen agree, it's a pick for me because I got the same 2 plays on Saturday, and I just touched the Saturday line. I didn't even look at Sunday. I just got to Saturday. I was reading a couple of articles on this, which is like, I can't believe I'm sitting here with printed off XFL notes right now, but this is like here we are in the Lock Shop, and I'm saying, according to the one place I saw, Paxton Lynch is coming off arguably his best game in the XFL. However, he was still sacked 4 times last week. And this is a team, the Guardians have not scored more than 12 points in a game all year. I'm on the Roughnecks here, -8.5. The Guardians cannot generate any offense. And the Sea Dragons, I'm going to ride with the Sea Dragons here as well. June Jones pulling all of the strings right now for the Sea Dragons. On top of DiNucci. I mean, DiNucci, I think he's almost at 70% completion. They were, in that win they had, they were trailing, right? They scored like 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter or whatever to come back. And a few of those touchdowns have been to Josh Gordon. 13 catches, 225 yards. 3 touchdowns so far this year, has yet to be suspended. I'm sure he will at some point. But DiNucci, this is the XFL. DiNucci and Josh Gordon seem to be the best 1-2 punch in the league. So you're going to ride with that this weekend. I don't know what would this parlay be? We can get it boosted maybe by the boys. 267?
Plus 267. Roughnecks -8.5. Seattle Dragons. Sea Dragons -4.5. Plus 267 right now.
Plus 267.
XFL exclusive. Go for it.
XFL Lock Shop exclusive. We'll get it boosted. I'll text it to the boys if they want to throw it up. We'll throw it up. Why not? We're both on it. Might as well hop on that. That's good. So, all right. Well, that is going to do it for another episode of the Lock Shop. I'm going to be unavailable next week, going on a little trip,
as they say.
Yeah, parts unknown. But Hus, March Madness firing up here right away, so I'm sure you'll be dabbling in that for plays of the day and things along those lines.
Yeah, Lock Shoppers. I mean, for the daily content, make sure to be following the Coolbet Canada socials. I'll be doing the daily picks this week, and hopefully we're due for a nice week after this one and my week previous before. I think I was 3-2. But it'd be nice to get on a bit of a run. The bracket comes out on Sunday. Obviously, there'll be lots of bracketology, and we will hit that in the Coolbet segment towards the end of Winnipeg Sports Talk. probably on Wednesday. And I'm going to see if Pat and Jake have anything planned, because maybe we'll do a little bit of a bracket reveal and some futures for the tournament with the fellows on the Coolbet Network at some point next week. So we'll touch into that. But obviously at Lock Shop Bets, at Hustlerama, we'll have plenty of content for you out there, and daily picks from the Lock Shop every day at Coolbet Canada. Follow them on Twitter and on Insta.
Talk to you in about 10 days, buddy.
Have a great time, pal.